What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 30. My name is Bret, aka Enigma 9011, and today I am joined by my good friend, Kevin. He is here today. He is home for actually longer than I thought, so that's pretty badass.
It's pretty badass.
Potential extra life?
Perhaps.
So, anyways, this is the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. Remember, we record this live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every first and third Saturday of the month. If you don't catch it live, that's okay. You can catch it over on youtube.com. Search Enigma9011, where it's broken out topic by topic, but also put as one big video for you guys. If you guys would like to get in on the chat, remember, watch it live. You can give us topics there, or you can give us topics in the comments down below, or on Discord in that tab. Let's see, what else am I forgetting? Oh, yeah. This podcast is also sponsored by the merch store. You can get all of your Enigma 9011 swag over on that merch store. You can get your t-shirts, hoodies, coffee, mugs, and more. I think the rigmarole's done. We didn't really decide who's going first with their topic. Do you want me to do mine first, and then if you think of something, you can go with it? Pull an audible and be like, I'm doing this!
Look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you go first. If it turns into a total dumpster fire, I'm going to come in and save this. I'm going to save this bitch.
Alright. Well, you heard it here first. Sounds like high school over again. Alright. Yeah,
for the most part. I haven't grown up. It's only been 7 years.
Fuck it. You just sponsored yourself? What? Pie, we've been sponsored for like the last 6 episodes. Where have you been?
Yeah.
Get off your ass.
Off the ass.
My topic for today's podcast is competition. Yesterday, I helped out with the Taekwondo Championship for possibly the last time. I did judging and I did some demo stuff. And I want to talk about the pros and cons of competition. Not necessarily just Taekwondo, but in life, workplace, skill-based, whatever it is. Because obviously there's a lot of pros and cons.
Yeah.
There was a pretty big con at the end of the event that I saw. And that reared its ugly head and I got triggered. And it's drama. So I'm just going to dive right into it as the con factor of drama.
Okay.
Some people just get way too fucking invested. Now, I get it. You put in a lot of work. Maybe your kid's doing the competition. Whatever it is. You have... Okay, I'm not going to get too specific with it. But the thing that happened was it was sparring. Obviously, you're hitting each other. Whatever.
Which is fun.
Yes. It was 2 students, teenagers, sparring. One caught the other with a kick across the jaw.
Okay.
With their heel. Hit solid. I didn't think it looked malicious or anything like that. The girl who got kicked obviously reacted to it.
Sure.
Did not fall. Did not get knocked out. Nothing of that. She got hit. She moved. Did the normal thing you would do if you got hit in the stomach or wherever.
Sure.
Continued sparring.
Okay.
They went for a little longer. Then the head ref stopped the match because the girl was, I guess you could say, getting emotional. Just, you could see, like, she was staggered a bit, I guess you could say. Stopped the match. They took, like, 10-15 seconds. As they were doing that, the mom of the competitor who got kicked was not yelling, but sternly talking and pointing at the competitor who did get the kick. That girl sees it, gets a little flustered herself, because she didn't mean to hit her hard or anything. She's fine with the girl, and, like, they're not, I don't know if they're, I wouldn't say best friends, but, you know, they're friendly with each other. So the mom's ticked. Continue sparring, match finishes fine. The girl who kicked the original girl won the match.
Right.
Okay. Whatever. Everything's fine. I go to talk to the competitor who did the kick. She's from my school. I was giving her little pointers about another competitor that was in her ring. This person competes consistently, so I'm like, if you spar this person, this is what I saw. Use that against them.
Right.
Type of thing. The father of this competitor comes up, because I was talking to the competitor and their mom, comes up, all in a fuss. Very angry. So and so saying this, blah 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 blah. Like the parent, like I was like, okay. Well, the parents of the other kid could see that happen. Then that dad came up and starts getting in his face about all this stuff. Like, rah, 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 your daughter needs to be less. She was too aggressive. She hit too hard. This, that. I'm just like, all right, I don't need this. Yeah. Walked away. But like, just the arguing amongst themselves. I was getting tense for no reason. I'm like, there's drama around. And I felt bad. So I don't know. It's like, I get it. They're your kids. You're supposed to be protective of them. But she's not hurt. Yeah, she got hit. She signed up for a competition where you're going to get hit.
I mean, but here's the crazy part about this. I mean, other than calling it taekwondo or karate or whatever, the other name is martial arts.
Right.
Now, martial typically doesn't mean going up high-fiving each other and that's it.
High-five
it means literally beating the shit out of each other for points.
Yeah.
You know, if you put your kid into a boxing club, you can't get mad when they get popped in the jaw. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying.
But yeah. So I don't know. So I mean, that was just one example of drama. There was another one that happened before that, but I'm not gonna dive into that one. But like, I've seen it over the years where people just get too heated and invested. I don't know. I've never had like the competitive like mindset of like, oh, I gotta win. I gotta be first place. Like, obviously that's the goal. But if it doesn't happen,
it's not the end of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I did something wrong. There's something I need to improve, or something along those lines. Whatever. Move on. Don't get caught up on it and complain. So that's a con. A pro side of competition that I see is it gives you a challenge, especially teaching Taekwondo and seeing the students who compete or compete regularly, like seeing them put all that work leading up to it, regardless of the result. Like I always told whoever was competing, kids, adults, I don't care how you do. I want you to feel like you improved at the end. Yeah. I don't care if you walk away first. I don't care if you walk away finalist. As long as you win, you challenge yourself, you put the work into it, that's great. I'm happy for you. So on that side of that challenge, I think that's great. But yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons that I could go through, and I'm sure we'll list them off, but you got anything?
I feel like So I went to one of the federal service academies for school, and West Point, Annapolis, and I went to the Merchant Marine Academy. So the big thing is when you go to West Point, there's like 1,000 kids to start when you are a freshman, or a little over 1,000. Mm-hmm. And by the end, eventually you're gonna lose guys because they can't handle it or they decide it's not what they want in life, whatever. Yeah. But what do you call it? There's a class ranking system at those schools. Mm-hmm. So, like, let's say you wanted to go be a pilot or something. Okay. You're more likely to get it if you're in, like, the top 20 kids. Like, remember in high school they gave us class rankings and stuff? Yeah. Imagine if, like, in high school they said, hey, only the top 20 kids get to go to, like, 4-year schools, and then, like, the next 20 get to go to 2-year, next guys don't get to go, or whatever. So, because of that competition to reach, guys went into their schools looking to have like a certain result, come out and do this, come out and do that. So they get real competitive because they want to beat the next guy and, increase their rank within the class. So the problem with that is you have people that are absolute friends with each other that won't help each other out in times of need because, well, if I help you, you might be able to advance over me type thing. Where my school did not have that ranking system, right? And so people were always much more willing to help each other because it didn't hurt them, if you did better. It allowed you to be a good friend because you removed that competitive instinct. And competition's good, but when it causes you to change how you would interact with like your best friend, that's where I'm not okay with that kind of level of competition. If they had told me balls and spa, like Kevin, you can get this if you don't help Bret out, you don't hang out with Bret, whatever, I'd be like,
I could.
It depends on what you're offering, No, competition serves a place. It helps people improve, but I think the big thing, like especially with Taekwondo, because I did Taekwondo for a limited time. I only made it to like high purple, but it's more about the journey than the end result. I mean, because if you stick with Taekwondo long enough and you put enough effort into it, you will become a black belt. But it's not the belt that matters, because I always kind of felt like being a black belt had to do more with mentality than the actual belt, you know, because if you can treat people with respect, pursue it for what it is, that's what's most important about being a black belt.
For sure.
So, I mean, I guess that's my point on competition. You know, being competitive is good, but don't let it cloud your journey and what you can stand to gain from it just because there's an end result that you want so bad.
Yeah, for sure. And, like, to take what you're saying and flip it on another side of thing, like, obviously the live stream and the podcast. Like I talked about as we went live with this on Twitch, is I just hit 10,000 views on the channel. That's over the span of 4 years.
Yeah.
Took a while to get there.
Sure.
And we're still working our way to 1,000. Now, competitively, there is a shit ton of competition out there.
Yeah.
Anybody could stream, technically. You need webcam. Well, you don't even need a webcam. You need a mic. You need some way to capture a game, or even just talking with people. There's so many different ways you can do it.
Yeah.
You don't need that much. Anybody can do it. Over the span of 4 years, I have seen other streamers start after I started, and then I see their progress now, and for some reason it irks me. I'm like, wow, that person started after me. They have 30,000 views, or this many followers, or look at how many subscribers they have. And I mean, I'm not proud of how that makes me feel. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like,
yeah,
I don't know. It sucks. But I'm not like, I think it's a personal thing. I need to be better at not looking at that and getting down. For example, love him to death. Snowbike Mike. Crushing it. He just got back into streaming a little while ago, Kind of Funny Life 3, after he talked with me, or at least that's what I know. I've talked with him a little bit. He's blowing up. He's doing great, and I am so happy for him. But personally, not because he's making me feel like that, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, type of thing. But no, that's not the case. Mike is very exuberant. He's very outgoing. He's very hype, as he puts it.
Yeah.
There's a reason people watch his channel. There's a reason I watch his channel.
Yeah.
It's because he's awesome to watch. He's very interesting, engaging, stuff like that. I am not that. Am I getting there? Kind of. But that's not the goal. Well, that's not the, it's not what I have to do. I don't have to match Mike.
Right.
I have to be my own thing. That's important.
Yeah.
So, personally, looking back when we were younger, I was very to myself. Like, obviously, when we hung out and stuff like that, and Sean...
Nah, you're a pretty reserved guy.
Yeah. Like, obviously, when we hung out, yeah, you know, we're all friends.
Dancing in cars, yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
Embarrassing other friends, you know? But in school in general, yeah, like you said, reserved.
Yeah, I think that's the way to put it.
Over these past couple years, I think streaming has helped that. I've become more outgoing, a little. At least I can talk better and more fluently.
Yeah.
California was another big one. I had to. Not that I made a bunch of friends out there, but I kind of I was on my own. I was independent.
New environment.
I had to do things. So, I think, getting back to the competitive thing, it's, you need to acknowledge other people. Mike's doing well. This person's doing well. This person's doing well. And then you got to kind of self-evaluate, which I think can be a good thing and a bad thing. It's the bad thing for what I just said, how it makes you feel. If you get down on yourself because, oh, it's ultra competitive, then like you said with your school, people drop out. This isn't for me.
Yeah.
Even if maybe it was their passion.
Yeah.
Maybe they just got pushed out because one or two things.
Yeah.
On the other side, at least in these past couple months, that competitive or that need for change, I acknowledge that and I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm going out more to push. I'm even talking about it more with family and friends. Oh, what do? I do this live streaming thing. It's not just like, oh, I do that. I'm getting into depth and explaining it, like I did with my family today.
Yeah.
I'm going to TwitchCon next week, or this coming week. Excuse me. Oh, what's that about? oh, well, it's this thing where it's a networking thing, and you get sponsors, and you talk with other people, and brainstorm, and spitball ideas back and forth. Like, I'm more able, I don't know, to talk about it and voice it clearly.
Yeah.
This is what I do. I'm not, like, ashamed of it, I guess you could say. And so by doing that, by sprucing up screens, changing overlays, doing different things to make it look fresh, new, professional. So I think that can be a positive of competition too. Even if it's not meant to be competitive. Like I said, Mike or anybody else, nobody's like, oh, you suck, you know, kind of thing. So I'm like, I gotta do
Get
it.
to 1,000, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of like that self-evaluation due to just the nature of things being competitive.
Right.
But then moving on to another point, you mentioned like the cutthroatness, like your friends.
Yeah.
I think that that's something I do well with and the Kind of Funny community and other people is working together. Hey, you're doing cool. You want to do something together? Hey, this looks great. Maybe tweak this. Like, I like that positive feedback and positive energy going back and forth. Like, let's all get better together. Obviously, people are going to grow at different rates or go a different way, but I think that's a good aspect of at least what I've been doing here and others have done for me, thankfully. I don't know, that was a kind of a rant. But
well, you know, I mean, it's like, it's one of those things, you know, it's like everybody's gonna reach the success they're gonna reach at different rates, you know, for different reasons. You know, guys that are like real outgoing or whatever, they're going to attract people that also really like outgoing people. And then you're going to have somebody that's maybe reserved too. Maybe they're thinking about doing this kind of thing and they see somebody like you and they kind of recognize like a similar, you know, like similar person. Maybe that helps draw them out.
Right. And
then you attract people like that. So you might be attracting those kinds of folks. He's attracting his kinds of folks. And you're both going to get to the level of success you're going to get, but you're going to do it differently.
Right.
And, you know, like, I get what you're saying. Like, you know, like, you see a buddy of yours that's doing like the same type of thing. Maybe they're doing it in a way that you wish you were doing it, or with the level of success that they're doing it. Yeah. And there's I guess the way I look at it is like this. You know, if it's something that you can actually improve, like let's say maybe it's like, I don't know, if it's something that maybe you hadn't thought of before, and you kind of get frustrated, like how come I didn't think of it? You know, then you try and do something similar to that. Okay, then, you know, that's good. You know, maybe it's improving you because you weren't thinking that way or whatever. But at the other side of the coin, I always like to think too, like if you can't be, like you're saying, you weren't being negative to this Mike guy or anything like that. But you know, like when you can look at a guy like that and be truly happy for what he's doing, and just, you know, it helps you, inspire you to do that. You know, that's the best, because you know you always gotta be happy for your friends and people you like when they're making it big, and you just hope, you know, I'm gonna be the next guy. Yeah. So I'm trying to be more positive lately, trying to be more optimistic, because Bret, I'll tell you, super negative individual for a good portion of the time he's known me. Made some life choices that changed things a little bit too, but it's I always try and look at the positive side of things nowadays. So.
Well, yeah,
that's my little, and I'm not definitely not crapping on what you're saying.
Yeah,
what you're saying is absolutely true, and it's unavoidable. You're always gonna feel a little bit like that when you see that success. So you could be the top guy in Twitch. Right now, you could be the top dude in Twitch, and you see some young kid coming up who's going up faster than maybe you did, and you're gonna be like, yo, that little so and so, like he shouldn't be going faster than I did. And that's just how it is. Yeah. That's just how it is. Natural. It's human. We suck. Whatever.
So I actually want to take a side road and go on the positive thing that you just said.
Do it up, bro.
Because I know a lot of people deal with this, and I might make this its own topic down the road, but positive and negative. Obviously, we want to focus on positive. We want to focus on the good things.
Absolutely.
However, I don't think that means we should ignore the negative.
No.
You should learn from the negative. Like, I know a lot of people don't want to feel down. They feel depressed. They feel this, that, the other thing. And I'm not saying you should feel that way or whatever. But when you're in moments of that, I think that's sometimes when you can actually motivate yourself the most.
Oh, absolutely.
If you can flip it, like use that momentum that's pulling you down, flip it to a U-turn, sometimes you can get the most growth.
Slingshot, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of taking that negative, acknowledging it. How do you fix it? For example, I didn't like how basic some setups looked. I wanted to, like I said, be more professional.
Right.
This doesn't look good. This doesn't look good. Maybe if I did this and I used that and put that energy into actually doing it, not just sitting here and going, I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know if people want to do this and that, like having it drag me down. But I know that's different and difficult more difficult for people than it is other people. But I think that's one thing that is a positive of competitiveness is how it makes you feel. Because if you're feeling emotions about it, it means it's important to you. Whether they're positive emotions or negative emotions.
Yeah.
This thing is important to you. If you didn't feel anything about it,
that's pretty telling.
Yeah, what's the point? So the emotions that it triggers, whether it's streaming, whether it's taekwondo, whether it's anything, that's good. That means you're on the right path for something. You might not get there, like you said, right away. So everybody's got their own path. But it's a matter of, okay, how do I take these emotions I'm feeling and get to that point
right.
that I want to get to? And, I think that's it. I don't know. And I don't have anything next.
Exactly.
It's not about the end goal. It's about the path you take to get there. Yeah.
It's all about the journey.
Yep. I don't think I got anything else off the top of my head. Pros, cons. You got anything? Or at least another point on competitiveness that you want to talk about? If not, no big deal. That was a decent 25-ish topic.
I guess like a little story about competitiveness is when I was in high school with Bret, I used to do track and do sprinting and all that, you know. And I wouldn't say guys were like negative in the competition, you know, but like it's a different type of competition and you're so zoned in on what you're about to be doing.
Yeah.
So like I did short distance sprints, like 100 meter dash, 200 meter dash. So it's like it's everything you got for that short distance, you know.
Yeah.
So as you're getting into the blocks, preparing to take off on your race there, I think some portion of it is you're just so focused, or maybe you're scared. Because let me tell you, whenever I used to do this stuff, I was always like sick to my stomach before the competition. I'd be like, oh god, like I'm gonna screw this up. Or, but guys that you were racing against, because there's 6 of you in a race, nobody was talking to each other. You know, again, it's not necessarily being not friendly or being too competitive. It's just you're so focused on what you're doing. Then I get to college and I started competing in track there, but instead of doing sprinting, I was throwing, you know, discus and shot put. And I gotta tell you, it's a whole different level of competition because you're standing in line waiting to throw, or maybe you just came back from one of your throws. So you get 3 throws for competition, and then you move on to your next event, whatever. And I remember my first time throwing for college. I came back from a throw that I didn't really do all that great, but I was still a young guy, still new, learning how to throw. And one of these bigger dudes, like this dude was like the thing, you know, just jacked out of his mind. And he looked at me and just goes, "Hey, bro, you know, just so you know, when you're throwing, you're kind of doing like a weird thing with your elbow." He's like, "Bring that elbow in, and you're gonna see on the next time." So here was a group of guys that are all competing against each other in a competitive sport, but they're helping each other out. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. One, how cool is it to say you won if you know that there are people that aren't competing at their best? For this dude who was absolutely going to clean house no matter what the heck the rest of us did, to come in and try and help me out, then he can like actually come away and be like, yo, I threw against guys throwing their best, you know, for what they could do. Like, you know, this is more of a win for me. But 2, competition should never get in the way of it being friendly or fun. You know, and if your competitive edge is making you not fun to be around or ruining the experience for yourself or others, you're going about the wrong way.
Yep.
So, you know, I just, again, not throwing shade at the high school guys. It was a different sport, different event, you know, than what I was doing. But, I don't know. I liked that competition, that competitiveness. You know, guys are always trying to do better, but they viewed it more as a competition with themselves than necessarily the guy next to them.
Yeah. So
they were going to help the guy next to him if they saw he might need a little something. I don't know. I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah,
but
definitely. Nice. There's competitiveness, competition.
Yeah, like I'm better than Bret.
That's true. Except in hair.
I don't know.
Nah. All right, topic 2. Kevin's topic, which is
Cheese.
Cheese.
No.
Cheese.
My topic, I guess, is gonna be kind of short.
Okay.
But basically, I just got back from a long overseas travel for what I do for work. And Bret was saying, you know, hey, you know, you're talking about weird countries and stuff, you know, like maybe talk a little bit about those. So like just a quick little story about last year. I got to do a trip or mission or whatever to Scotland and Spain, which was pretty cool. I got to spend just about almost a month. You know, not every day, but you know, you might go out for 4 days and then you'd come back into port on a day and you have 2 days maybe. So I got to spend about kind of like a month coming maybe weekly into port in Scotland, which was super cool. If anybody's ever traveling and they have the ability to stop in Scotland or something, I totally recommend it. Those people are super cool. They actually don't mind us as Americans, which, as far as I've seen, is a very hard quantity to find, that people don't just dislike us for being American, which I get sometimes. I truly do. Then I got to go to Spain, and we spent a week there. That was pretty cool. But this time, I started off going to Japan. This place called Sasebo, which is like really close to Nagasaki, where we unfortunately did some fireworks back in the day. But really nice area. You're all in the mountains there, and it's like I got there in the springtime, so like you see all like the samurai movies. There's always like the pink cherry blossom trees. Those were everywhere.
Nice.
And it makes the air smell like super nice. Number 1, Japanese people are super cool. 2, their food is amazing. And 3, there's just no shortage of stuff to get in and get involved with. We were in town at the same time this British ship came in, and it was filled with their version of Marines. You know, so these guys are just a bunch of meatheads, you know. So we're all at a restaurant, like watching something on TV, because Japanese people love wrestling. So I'm like getting into not just sumo, you know, watching like regular like American style wrestling. And these British dudes got in a fight with each other.
Oh jeez.
Not even with like the Americans that were there, not even with the Japanese. They got in a fight with each other. About 10 minutes later of just watching this unfold on the street, there's like 40 bodies everywhere, just like on the ground, people knocked out, and we're just like, you know, stepping over people, and that was just like, thank God it wasn't Americans, because you know, we just don't come off well overseas sometimes. So you spent 2 months there, around 2.5. Spent a really long time in the Philippines. Never go there if you don't have to. Wasn't a fan. I know a lot of people really love the Philippines, but for all the reasons they loved the Philippines, I'm not interested in those things, so was of no use to me for a while. Then I went to Guam, which is actually part of the U.S., which is weird. You're like in the middle of the Pacific, and then you drive into the island, and it feels like you're in America, which is just super weird, honestly. And then went to Singapore a bunch of times.
Nice.
Which I've been there before, but saw a whole different part of the island this time. But You have a friend who's stationed in Guam. Yeah, so we were actually in and out of the base there. Guessing he's Navy or Air Force, maybe. I don't know. You can comment if you want. But we were in there. We weren't even getting fuel. I don't even remember. We were picking up cargo or something. But it was weird because I hadn't been in the U.S. since February. Mm-hmm. Yeah, February.
Yep.
And I'm driving down the road in Guam, and there's a Wendy's. All right. Now I don't.
He doesn't recall. He doesn't, to be honest.
All right. Yeah. I think Navy and Air Force are the biggest groups there, so one of the two of them. But I'm not like a huge fan of Wendy's. I mean, as far as fast food goes, like it's definitely not in my top 3. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But after not being around American food, I legitimately could have started crying at the thought of a Wendy's bacon cheeseburger. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I went and got one. And this Guamanian lady who was working the counters just looking at me, and I've got this like crazed smile on my face. I'm like, you know, like that. And she's like, oh my God, what is wrong with this guy, you know? And I'm like, you do not understand. This is my first like legitimate cheeseburger in 7 months. And she goes, sure. All right, whatever. And so like I eat it. I'm just sitting there like, ah. And I'm sure everybody in the restaurant is just totally freaked out by this. But super
cheeseburger.
Super nice place, like really pretty. Wish I could have spent more time there, but there was like this huge typhoon that was like almost like a Hurricane Katrina sized typhoon that was heading for this island, so we had to take off. We still got hit by it anyway, even though we tried to get out of the way, which, a week to 10 days of that storm hitting the ship was the worst. You couldn't walk around without having to hold on to railings everywhere you went. I mean, every time you take a step, it's like, it's like an earthquake. But, I liked Guam. It was super cool. The only problem was it's a tropical island. It starts raining randomly, and then it clears up.
Yeah.
But then it'll start raining again. And I'm trying to get to the car that I had for that day or two in Guam. Mm-hmm. And I'm on the ship. It's sunny.
Yep.
I get off the ship. I'm like 10 feet away from the ship. Downpour. And then I run to the car. I jump in, slam the door shut. I am soaked all the way through. And then it's sunny again. And I'm sitting there going, mother, you know. And then I got to go to like a Walmart or something, and that was the first time again I had been like anything American in a while. So it's like I'm hearing new songs on the radio that I have never heard of, musicians I've never heard of. Still have no idea what a Cardi B is. Trying to figure that out, because it's weird. Because it's like 8 months of being. It'd be like if I took you out of here and put you like in a room where you can't talk to anybody. And for 8 months, things are just happening in the U.S., like music, movies, whatever, and people from back home, you finally get to talk to them. They're like, oh, did you hear about this movie, blah, 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 or did you hear this song, blah, blah, and I'm sitting there going, huh? Because somebody was like, oh, yeah, Cardi B, and I'm like, the heck is a Cardi B? And that is weird. That is really weird. It took me, like, a week to get used to being around, like, Americans again, like, because, like, when you're around Japanese people, they're super cool. But, like, they're... One of the funny things I learned there is, like, you go to, like, I don't know if you've ever been up to, like, Quebec, like, in French Canada.
I have not been out of the United States.
So the people up there can speak English,
okay.
The French-speaking people, but they won't sometimes because they know you're an American and they don't want to make it easy for you.
Gotcha.
So in Japan, you think the same thing's going on, except for the fact that you find out like 40 to 50% of them speak English.
Pretty prominent.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But they apparently are very culturally nervous about speaking English because they're afraid that they're going to mispronounce something.
Right.
Which is like, you want to go up to them and be like, guys, if I were to speak Japanese, I would sound so much worse than you speaking English. Like, just let it out, let it flow, you know? But, you know, you get friendly with them and they start opening up, they warm up a little bit, because they're very, from what I saw, or at least maybe it's just the city I was in, they're very shy people. There's not like a whole lot of eye contact. Sometimes they're looking at their feet as they're walking around. And even when I saw like people talking to their friends,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at the ground.
That might be like a challenging type. Like they might feel like that kind of thing. So maybe that's why.
I think it's just cultural. It's not meant to be an insult or anything. But you get talking to people, you get used to that. You learn a little bit of Japanese to try and show them how bad you are at Japanese to maybe make them better at English.
Konnichiwa.
I mean,
Toyota.
the biggest thing I learned was just to say arigato to everything. Thank you, mm-hmm. because at least they're gonna be like, hey, this kid's an idiot, but he's polite.
Yeah,
you know. But no, I mean, like it was Toyota shaking my head. It was funny though. One last story before I wrap up what I'm talking about here. One of my buddies had heard there was a Harley Davidson store in Japan, which, I mean, other than McDonald's, I feel like Harley Davidson's one of the most American things ever. So I'm like, that's really kind of cool that's over here. Mm-hmm. So my buddy, and actually, it's kind of neat that he said that because I've had this tradition of whenever I go overseas, if I can get my dad a Harley, because he used to ride all the time until just after we moved here, he got in like a terrible motorcycle accident nearby here, mm-hmm. and that was the end of his riding. Yeah. But I still get him a Harley Davidson t-shirt from all the ports I go to. I even got him one from Djibouti, Africa, which is like Djibouti. One, the name is just so great. Djibouti, the place so nice they named it twice. And it's right next to Somalia, which we all know was a paradise.
Yep.
But so I was like, oh cool, I can get my dad a Japanese Harley Davidson t-shirt. He's going to love this, which he did because he's worn it like 3 times since I've been home now.
If you don't say chair exactly right, you'll end up saying tentacle or something completely unrelated.
So that's what I thought. It turns out that's less of an issue for Japanese than it is Chinese. So like, I'm totally gonna. I don't speak Japanese or Chinese or Japanese really, obviously, but let's say you have something like Chinese word "wu," mm-hmm. right? Like W-U. Depending on how you say it, like your tone, it can mean like 5 different things. Ooh, so you're saying the same word, but if you're saying like chair, if you don't say it like excitedly, but you say it kind of like "woo" or whatever, like you said, you're saying tentacle or something. Japanese is less of an issue with that, but they've got like it's very formal people, so it's a very formal language, mm-hmm. and there's formal and informal, and if you screw that up, I guess you can kind of make an ass out of yourself. Right. But anyway, so
Djibouti.
We go to we get a taxi, go to this Harley Davidson place, and there was 3 of us going, and we thought my buddy who got the taxi, because he was hanging behind to pay the guy, right? So me and my other buddy, we start to walk into the store. And we thought he was telling the taxi driver to hang out for a little bit because we weren't going to be in there very long, so we didn't want to, we were way out of the city from where we normally were, so we weren't sure what like taxis were going to be like. Yeah. So we're in the store looking at shirts and we see the taxi pull away and we're like, so we looked at him and go, hey, did you tell him to wait behind? He goes, no, why would we need to do that? And we go, because none of us speak Japanese and we're not going to be able to get a taxi. So we couldn't get one because it's like way outside where they normally go. So we had to walk like 2 miles back, and it was like just starting to get hot in Japan. Like it was like 80-something degrees, and like we're still wearing like work clothes or whatever, so it's really hot. Yeah. And that was pretty miserable. But finally, I just find some older Japanese guy who's driving a taxi. And I run over. I'm like, wait! And he just starts laughing, and he opens the doors for me. But I really enjoyed my time there. It was cool people. It's probably, other than Scotland, I'd say Japan was my favorite. I'd like to go back there just for personal travel, not for work. Mm-hmm. But
so that's kind of the reason I want to talk about this too, is your trips, where you've been. Because previously on the podcast, we've talked about places you'd like to visit, and then on my Game Over Greggy show appearance, the topic started off, would you ever live somewhere else besides the U.S.? And then it went into the whole gun control thing because of the shooting in Florida at the Madden tournament. Woo! That went a whole different way. Yeah. But a place I've mentioned I'd like to go visit, not that I have like a burning passion to go, but I'm like, that might be cool, is Japan. Now, I don't know if you could say it. Were you in Tokyo, Japan, or was it somewhere else?
No. So, there's two really, for ships anyway, there's two bases that we go to in Japan. You have Sasebo, which is, so basically, if you don't know, like, Japan's made of like 6,000 islands. Mm-hmm. And then the ones you see on the map, mm-hmm. that's the big four.
Right.
So you have Honshu, which is where like Tokyo is and whatnot. You have Hokkaido, which is the northern island. You have Shikoku, and Honshu. Well,
the other one.
Forgetting the fourth one. My bad to anybody that lives on that island. So you got Sasebo, which is in the southern end, and then you have Yokosuka, which is up near Tokyo. It's like a 40-minute train ride to Tokyo. So I didn't. Unfortunately, we were supposed to go there, but with missions changing all the time, we didn't end up having to go there anymore. Mm-hmm. Really wanted to though, because there's like they got that bullet train there, that fast speed, and I just really want to ride one of those because when I was a kid, loved Thomas the Tank and all that. So I'm like, yo, this would totally kick Thomas's ass. So
gotta go fast.
No, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to Tokyo. I was really looking forward to it. I got to spend a little bit of sorry to all of it. Well, you know, Bret said he has a huge following in Japan, but
oh yeah, we follow Enigma 911. Now we don't.
Fuck you, Bret.
Fuck you, Toyota.
It's I got to spend a little time in Seoul, South Korea, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
By the way, fastest data network in the world. So when you get on your phone there, it's like before you even press search, they're pulling up results. It's like, no.
How did you know?
No, but to answer that question though, if you told me I could live anywhere else besides the U.S. Mm-hmm. and this is gonna offend Canadians, I consider Canada part of the U.S.
Oh yeah.
Basically, I grew up right next to them as a young guy. We're basically the same. I don't know what.
Give them a couple of drinks, the accent will come out.
Yeah. Well, hey, off the drinks, all together nowadays, which is a good thing. Okay. What do you? Oh yeah. So anyway, Canada basically us. I don't know what they're playing at. Get over yourselves. I would pick Scotland because Scotland was I have no idea how to explain it, but I was talking to a friend of mine from the Lake George area I grew up with, whose family are really Scottish, and they've traveled there to meet family and stuff because they're like first or second generation American. And I actually just found out I had always understood I was like Irish and maybe some German. Apparently my mom's father or whatever was actually adopted, so we thought he was American, but he was actually born in Scotland, which was like kind of cool, you know. And I just learned that before I went there, so it was kind of almost like a weird feeling, like, hey, I'm going where my grandfather's from, you know. And this friend of mine said something like, it's weird when you go there, right? And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, you almost feel like you're at home, like there's something like very familiar, or like, I don't know, you feel at home, you feel connected. And I totally agree with her. It's the weirdest thing. It's like you're wandering around there, you get talking. Yeah, and I was around Glasgow area, which is like southern, not like in the Highlands or whatever, which is, my family was from like the Highlands area, I guess, like Braveheart. But yeah, no, it's like, it's the weirdest feeling. You go there and I felt so connected to the people and everything, and we were in the same town for like a month, so you're going out to bars and restaurants with the same, it's a small town we were going to, so it's the same people. You made a lot of friends. I made a really good friend who was a little older than us, named Alex. Still talk to him on Facebook and stuff. He's a really cool dude. Couldn't ask for more welcoming people. Like when they found out like my grandfather was actually Scottish, people were like saying welcome home, like what took you so long type thing. And it's like just really cool experience. I'd pick that if that was me being asked the question.
Nice. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I thought Tokyo would be cool. Mm-hmm. The more you're talking about Scotland, I think it'd be cool. Like, I don't know. A basic bitch answer would be England, just because I feel it'd be the easiest to assimilate myself to, but I don't know.
It's, you know, it's weird. Like, you ever see that Green Street Hooligans movie?
I don't think so.
So the guy who played Frodo from Lord of the Rings, it's this American kid that goes to England to see his sister because he got kicked out of Harvard or whatever. And so he ends up hanging out like in soccer countries, big soccer countries like England or Germany. It's like so much different than American sports. You can't, not every soccer fan obviously, but there are people that join these gangs of hooligans, right? And they get together before games and after games, and they're basically almost criminal. I mean, like, there's riots, there's fights with other teams, gangs and stuff, you know? And we don't have anything like that. I mean, you know, Yankees, Red Sox fans might get into it with each other, but it's never like this. And I was in Glasgow for their, like, biggest rivalry for the country. It was Celtic versus Rangers, right? And people are coming up to me in the bathroom at bars going, "Oi, who are you for? You know, Celtic or Rangers?" And I'm like, at first I was trying to answer because I know a little bit about soccer. I watch a little bit about it, and I was like, I think I like Celtic. You know, I've watched them a little bit. And they're like, "No, you don't. Celtic fans are a bunch of fucking terrorists and blah blah blah." Like, calling each other terrorists, which even Yankees and Red Sox fans would never do that. So, you know, you think that it would be so easy to assimilate, and then stuff like that happens, and I'm walking down the street, and there's people chanting and marching, like waving their fists in the air, like, looks like World War II Germany people, you know? And they're like wearing their team colors and stuff, and it's like you're just sitting there going, oh. So finally I just started saying, "Oh, I don't watch soccer," and they go, "Oh, fucking American, blah 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 blah," and yeah, you would think you would fit in so well, and then it's like, I'm gonna these people might as well be speaking German or French, because I don't understand. And then you have to ask them to slow down. The accent is so thick, and they have different slang than we do. But I was also told by them, and I never would have thought this, they like American English. Because we apparently pronounce things clear. Oh, there you go. We pronounce things like clear or whatever. So I heard this one guy say, no one's ever going to tell you this to your face, but we actually do like the American accent because it's a little bit easier to understand. Like, because even they can't understand each other. If you have a Scottish guy talking to a dude from like I don't know, London, and he's got that Cockney accent, they can't understand each other. It's worse than us not being able to understand.
Oh boy.
But
alright. Well, maybe one day travels will occur. I don't know. That's quite a venture. I'll stay in the USA for now. Das gut. Alright. So topic 3.
Oh boy.
Is the lightning round questions, Kevin. So, whenever we have a one-on-one podcast like this and it's somebody's first time, I take to the lightning round questions.
Oh boy.
So it's about 10 questions. Alright. All I want you to do is just give me whatever answer first comes to your head.
Oh, jeez.
You can go as in-depth with an answer, explain it if you want, or you can just leave it at your answer. That is totally fine. No problem. Now I gotta find the fucking rest.
This guy is people get American. Totally true. Totally true. Because, like, the Glasgow accent where I was is one way, and then the Highland accent is totally different. I mean, I don't care what Mel Gibson did on a horse in Braveheart, but it sounds nothing like that. Go ahead.
Alright. Here we go. Question number 1. Kevin, what's your favorite color?
Green.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Okay. What is your favorite game?
Of all time?
Of all time.
Video game or other?
Whatever you feel.
Skyrim. Big surprise.
Skyrim.
Big surprise.
Yeah. Favorite movie?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Braveheart. It's a great movie.
Okay. Favorite type of music?
It's kind of been a changing thing. I would have normally said heavy metal back in the day, but I've kind of mellowed out a little. I don't know. I've definitely kind of come to appreciate country more as I've gotten a little bit older. But yeah, I'd say country.
All right. Favorite song? You could say eras too, like, oh, when I was this age, I was this, and now it's this, or whatever.
So when I was a kid, I danced with my grandma when I was like 4. One Christmas, there was a video of me dancing with her, and there was that song by the Beatles, "In My Life," which I hate the Beatles normally, but this song actually has like a lot of meaning and depth to it. I thought the writer was being very introspective, or retrospective actually rather, and she ended up passing away Alzheimer's actually after I moved here, like when I was in 8th grade, and I don't know, whenever I hear that song I think about her, so it's definitely a very good song for me in that way. But my favorite song, I would say, because I listen to it every time before I go to the ship, is this song called "Heart of the Ocean" by Gaelic Storm, and it really captures the feeling of being out at sea and kind of loving the sea and everything. So I've always kind of liked the way the music flows in that. So yeah, I'd say that.
Okay. What was your dream job when you were a kid?
Not what I'm doing. I think my dream job when I was a kid would have been something to do with history, because I was like a little history nerd as a kid, and but I couldn't think of how I could actually turn that into a real job in upstate New York, other than working at the Saratoga Battleground. Right. So yeah, I guess when I was a kid I wanted to be a historian, or no, I wanted to be a journalist. That's what it was. I wanted to be a journalist because newspapers were still like a thing then. Yeah. But
back in my day,
I had a typewriter and everything, because I saw this Sean Connery movie when I was a kid called Finding Forrester. Okay. And he teaches this young African-American kid from the city how to write better, because he was a famous novelist or whatever, and he had a typewriter, and I was so obsessed with typewriters after that my mom actually was able to find one, and I would just type for freaking hours on that thing, like I'm pretending I'm some big newspaper guy. Yeah, I was a nerd.
That's pretty neat. I didn't know that about you. Okay.
I'm like a Rubik's Cube.
Yep. Many sides, many colors.
So many colors. So great. So great.
So great.
Yeah, so great.
If you could have any animal to be a pet, what would it be?
That's a basic answer, because it's not that exotic. Actually, no, screw that. I'm answering how I feel. Right. I'm answering how I feel.
That's right.
After watching Archer, I want an ocelot. I don't care what you say, and I'm going to name it Babu, because you know what? Babu was batshit crazy, and I love him. Next question. Drop the mic.
If you could meet one celebrity, who would it be? Does not matter, like, tier of celebrity. It could be whoever. Sports, movies, film, actor, whoever. Music.
Golly. Well, he's dead, but
that's fine.
Would love to meet Kurt Cobain and find out why Courtney killed him, because that's a fact.
What's your favorite season?
Fall.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
What is a skill you wish you had?
I wish I spoke more languages than I do.
Okay. Final question. What is a game that you want me to play?
Like tonight, or just in general?
In general. We already talked about the games we're going to play tonight.
Bret, I want you to embrace the gloriousness of Skyrim in your life. And I'm not saying tonight, obviously, but I think, you got a lot of great things going on in your life. It's true. Good for you. But you have not lived until you have defeated Alduin in Skyrim, and then you basically become a vampire lord, who basically is a god in that game. You cannot do anything. I challenge you to kill a vampire lord in Skyrim. You can't do it. You can't do it.
So, are you saying not worthy of god status? Is this deeper answer than it needed to be?
No. I am saying the hours of entertainment that Skyrim has brought into my life, the smiles of crushing somebody's skull with a warhammer, you need to learn that for yourself. You dipped your toe into it back in the day.
I did.
You dipped it. You dabbled, if you will. It was not enough.
Okay.
Drop the mic.
Again. You picked it up just to drop it again.
Well, I had a second one.
Oh, okay.
In my back pocket.
Utility belt. Whoop.
Perhaps.
Indeed.
I can't wear mine though because I lost 30 pounds.
This has been another episode of the Wait What We Talking About podcast, episode 30. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, you guys can watch the podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every first and third Saturday of the month. You can join in the chat like Pi and Lady did today and talk with us about our topics. If not, you can catch it over on youtube.com, search Enigma911 where it's broken up topic by topic, or put as one big video for your amusement. If you have topics for us that you'd like us to discuss, remember you comment down below or put it in Discord in that tab and we might get to it. Remember, guys, today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by the merch store. You can get all of your Enigma 9011 swag, t-shirts, book bags, hoodies, and more over there. You can check that out if you would like. I think that's it. Kevin, thank you for joining me today.
Pi, I remember the other island. It's Kyushu.
There you go.
Just came to me. Brain blast.
That's a topic 2 throwback if you're watching these separate. Go watch that one.
Do it.
Right now. Stop this video. Go to topic 2. Watch it.
And
Then go to topic 1. Then go to topic 1. Watch that. Then watch all the other episodes. Then you see that red subscribe button? You better hit it. You might as well. You're watching all the videos. Until next time, guys. We'll see you later.